dude, like, oh my God, like, can we talk about like the political and economic state of the world right now?
It is said that the music that you listen to in your teenage years has a very formative influence on your life. And born in 1996, I turned into a teenager in the 2010s, right in the middle of the pop punk movement. During that time, I was very aware of the music outside. I would listen to a lot of Bollywood. I would listen to Linkin Park. I would listen to Eminem as well. But I'd be lying to you if I told you that that was my favorite type of music at that point. Because the music that spoke to me was pop punk music, emo rock music.
Where are you? And I'm so sorry. I cannot sleep. I cannot dream tonight. I need somebody and always.
I feel like pop punk is often underrated and ignored by the critical circles because it is seen to be too melodramatic or immature, and it barely ever got any recognition in India. There was barely any representation of pop punk in the mainstream media in India. In fact, I barely knew anyone who was listening to pop punk at that time. It wasn't hardcore enough to be considered punk rock, and the themes weren't catchy enough for it to be considered pop music.
Life's like this. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's the way it is.
Yet, what others saw to be melodramatic, I saw it to be unapologetically honest and expressive. To me, it spoke to my teenage experience of fear, angst, and just this constant struggle for acceptance.
Do you ever feel like breaking down? Do you ever feel out of place? Like somehow you just don't belong and no one understands you.
And teenagers are so weird because you're constantly looking to fit in, you're constantly looking to be accepted, and there is friction between you and your parents. They don't get you, you don't understand most of the things they're saying. School becomes a nightmare, and you start really understanding the struggles of life, which wasn't there before you turn into a teenager.
Dad, look at me. Think back and talk to me. Did I grow up according to plan?
And at that time, the concept of mental health or honest conversations weren't really that popular as it is today. So for me, pop punk came into my life at a very good time because it acted as therapy for me. Like, it was very cathartic to put myself in a situation where I would just sit down and listen to Sum 41 or Simple Plan or Good Charlotte, because they were talking about these same things that I was feeling.
Things I said. If you believe it's in my soul, I'd say all the words that I know.
Songs such as Pieces by Sum 41 or Welcome to My Life by Simple Plan or Complicated by Avril Lavigne, they really captured this feeling of what it was like to be an adolescent and the struggle that came with adolescence. And for the first time, I heard music that made me feel understood. It made me feel like I wasn't the only one who was feeling these emotions. And it actually felt like music that was made by outcasts for outcasts. And I'm sure everyone at some point in their teenage life did feel that feeling.
Can save me, but it's the only thing that I have. If you believe it's in my soul, I'd say all the words that
So what I really enjoyed about the music experience while I was listening to pop punk was that it gave me a feeling that there were other people who were going through the same thing and I'm not the only one. It made me feel heard. It made me feel like I wasn't the only one who was going through this situation.
another day is going by. I'm thinking about you
beyond this general angst or complexities of the teenage life, I feel like pop punk did a very good job in capturing the roller coaster of teenage romance. It did a very good job in explaining what it was like when you were a teenager and you would have a crush on someone, or how nervous you would get before confessing your feelings to someone that you actually like. And in fact, not just that, like even the concepts of love lost and separation, and the feeling of sadness that one feels when your feelings are not reciprocated by the person that you have these feelings for.
Who I am, and she doesn't give a damn about me, 'cause I'm just a teenage dirtbag, baby. Yeah, I'm just a teenage dirtbag, baby.
I feel like tracks such as Hero Heroine by Boys Like Girls, Without You by Sum 41, I'd Do Anything by Simple Plan, they really did a good job in capturing this highs and lows of what teenage romance was like.
Now that she's gone, I'm sleeping with the light on.
What I loved about pop punk was its sincerity. While there were other genres that I was listening to at that time, such as hip hop, which would tap into my bravado-ness or like my brave front,
Again, just as things were looking up, you said it wasn't good enough, but still we're trying one more time.
pop punk was about being genuine about the teenage struggles or the teenage experience. It didn't shy away from these feelings that I was feeling at that point, whether it was anger towards parents, whether it was the concept of peer pressure, whether it was things such as having to go for your first date. So those things, I feel like pop punk did a very good job in capturing that emotion, and then also validating your experience of going through those emotions.
Book, have fun read. I wanna be laughed at, laughed with, just because. I wanna feel weightless, and that should be enough. But I'm stuck in this fucking rut, waiting on a second-hand pick-me-up, and I'm over getting older. If I could just find the time, then I would never let another day go by. I'm over getting old. Maybe it's not my weekend, but it's gonna be my.
In terms of the musical value that pop punk brings, I feel like the way that a lot of the production and composition of pop punk music happens, how the instruments are arranged in the song, they lead to a very catchy chorus.
Almost had you, but I guess that doesn't cut it. Almost loved you. I almost wish you would have loved me too.
Several times I've shared pop punk songs with my friends who don't listen to that sort of music, but when they listen to it, they automatically start moving or grooving. Even though the theme is something really dark, they have a way of coming up with choruses which are very catchy. You can dance to them, you can sing to them, you can cry to them, you can be screaming your lungs out in a car singing to the same choruses.
Felt right. I wish you were here with me tonight.
The pop punk scene has also introduced me to some of the best vocalists that I've ever heard. For example, Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance, or Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco.
Assembling their philosophies from pieces of broken memories. Oh, 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 oh.
And one other thing that I feel makes pop punk very special is that I've always felt that it's very genderless, like it's very gender fluid. Like I listen to a lot of Taylor Swift song, but it is pretty tough for me to connect to some of the songs that she has made because it is so centric to the feminine experience. However, when I listen to Avril Lavigne songs, I never felt like that. I always felt like the things that she's talking about are the things that I am going through. So I feel like it is never female or male centric. You can listen to any male singer from that genre, from the pop punk genre, and still connect to him regardless of what you identify your gender to be.
Make things so complicated. I see the way you're acting like you're somebody else gets me frustrated. Life's like this, you fall and you crawl and you break and you take what you get and you turn it into honesty. Promise me I'm never gonna find you faking. No, no, no.
And despite these constant themes of angst or teenage struggles, I feel like pop punk always had room for just light-hearted immaturity as well, which led to a lot of goofiness. And it like what it was trying to convey through that was that it is important to express yourself in an honest manner without really thinking about what it is that the society expects from you. And that was something that I took from pop punk quite a lot, which is why I'm here trying to make this video and explain to you guys that why I like it so much.
And that's about the time she walked away from me. Nobody likes you when you're 23. And I still more amuse by TV shows. What the hell is ADD? My friends say I should act my age. What's my age again? What's my age again?
And finally, pop punk feels like home to me. It came into my life at a very crucial time. I feel like it helped me a lot in my journey through the teenage years, and it gave me the confidence that I can get through it. And there were times where I felt like, oh, this is getting too tough now. But then I would go back and listen to Simple Plan or Sum 41 and feel like, okay, fine. There is some hope. Like, and that's one thing that I liked about pop punk songs a lot. Also, even though they got into dark topics such as depression, they would talk about things like parent separations. They would talk about things like not being accepted in your circles. There was always this positive note to it at the end of it where they would bring it back and introduce the concept of hope.
No wonder it was never plugged in at all. I took my time, I hurried up. The choice was mine, I didn't think enough. I'm too depressed to go on. You'll be sorry when I'm gone.
They would encourage the feeling of holding on. In fact, the song Hold On from Good Charlotte does the same.
This go. You don't have to go. You feel inside, you're feeling lonely, and no one seems to care. Your mother's gone and your father here too. This pain you cannot bear. But we all bleed the same way as you do. And we all have the same.
There are plenty of other songs which look in towards a more positive direction while they do start off from a negative direction. And pop punk still feels like a home to me as an adult because now it fulfills a different purpose, where in this fast-paced life, hearing to pop punk feels like a time portal to me, which it takes me back to my childhood. It takes me back to a simpler time, and it helps me reconnect with the child that I was, and it helps me stay in touch with the dreams that I had at that point, which is again what inspired me to start this channel and talk about the things that I like. So yeah, I'm grateful to have had pop punk in my life, and yeah, it's never just a phase, it was a lifestyle.
You're coming